An anti-violence campaign at the University of Regina has set up a masculinity confession booth to try and spark a conversation about what it means to be a man.
Stop with the tears, stop with the emotions, don't be a mama's boy.
Don't be a baby.
Grow a pair.
Suck it up, and don't be a girl.
Be a man.
There are times where women belittle men that are emotional and stuff like that. Like, I've heard it, because they've been socialized to view a man in the same way that we've been socialized to grow up. We just have to have a more, like I said, like a more comprehensive, expanded version of what masculinity means.
And to build on that, talking about redefining masculinity, I'm joined now by Roz Kelsey. She's the Director of Gender Violence Prevention Strategies at the University of Regina. She's also the founder of the Man Up Against Violence campaign. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Emery.
All right, you caught a lot of national attention by setting up what you call the Masculinity Confession Booth. Explain to us what that is and how this idea came about.
Well, it was just an opportunity to provide students, faculty, staff at the university with a space and an opportunity to talk about what they define as masculinity and try to get a conversation going that doesn't normally happen on campus. It was simply a curtained off area with a camera where you could tell your story, you could talk about how you see this playing out in your life.
Why was it important, given your field of study, for you to set up something like this, a place for men to come and talk about what it means to be masculine and perhaps redefine that term?
Yeah, I think it was important for everyone to talk about it, not just men. I think that might have been part of the, we encouraged men to come and talk about it, but we had women, we had people from all over the campus that were coming to talk about how we as a society define what it means to be a man. And that certainly is something that that is now up for discussion, where in the past it never has been. I mean, just this whole idea of talking about masculinity for some is very emasculating and it's very challenging. It can be a very threatening thing to think about what it means to be a man in this day and age. There are, you know, some pretty significant lines, gendered lines, that you don't cross when you're a man, or else there's some policing going on about what's allowed and what's not allowed in society and what's deemed unmasculine.
Give us some ideas then of what some of those lines are, what some of those statements are.
Well, we heard a bunch of stories. We heard things about men talking about when was the first time you were ever told to man up or act like a man, or, you know, and we've heard about parenting, about the idea of, I mean, I was even guilty of it, of the idea of going, you know, it's okay, big boys don't cry, you're good, brush it off. And, you know, if anything happened when it came to any kind of physical injury or when it came to any kind of emotional trauma, there was always kind of this idea of bucking up and being a man, right? And we're starting the conversation about how I think restrictive that is, and how we need to really expand the opportunity to move across those gendered lines, just as women are doing. And I mean, those are social constructs. Those are constructions of society that we all take part in, that we all reinforce, that we see in mass media, that we see in, you know, just everyday conversations, when sometimes we don't even recognize that we're saying things or doing things that might reinforce that.
Some people have wondered why it's a woman, yourself, fronting a campaign about giving men a voice. What's your response to that?
Well, the interesting thing is that I work alongside many men. I work alongside the likes of the men you saw in the video. That this is a supporting role between men and women. Anyone along the gender spectrum that is part of society needs to be part of this conversation. And in no way is this conversation a tearing down or a deconstruction of masculinity as it stands. This is an expansion of masculinity so that we can provide opportunities to be able to blur those gender lines a little bit more and allow more of a spectrum of emotions, of activities, of interests for everyone in society.
We talk a lot in the news and in politics in particular about gender equality. Why do you feel it was important now to have this conversation about redefining masculinity? I
think it's always been important, but I think now we're starting to see some momentum in this area. We're certainly still seeing resistance, but I think that's that's common of any social change or any social challenge is we're going to see some resistance. People that want to stay in the kind of boxes that we've created for them. It's safe. As soon as you start to move across that, there's real policing that happens. And I love the idea that our students are very engaged in this and that we have faculty that come out to these Man Up Against Violence events that we have on campus. We have a website that's very active. We have resources on there. We have community members that are getting involved. So these are a lot of men and a lot of women who think that this is a very important topic to talk about.
It is indeed, and I'm glad you brought it here. Roz Kelsey from the University of Regina, thank you.